In the past few lessons, we have been looking at how to graph lines. Now we're going to take information and write equations of lines. You will need to know several formulas for this lesson. First of all, we're going to find an equation of a line given the slope and the y-intercept. You will need to know the formula y equals mx plus b. Now we had that one in the previous lesson because we solved for y in order to find m and b, and then we graphed it. So this should be pretty easy. It's usually also a formula most people remember from high school. Now for this whole lesson, the directions are going to be find the equation of the line with the given information, and we want to write all of our answers in slope-intercept form if possible. So all of our answers should be in the form of y equals mx plus b. These first three problems are so easy. They really are. So number one, they tell you what the slope is and they tell you what the y-intercept is. Remember that b is our y-intercept. So if you have the formula y equals mx plus b, they told me what m is and they told me what b is. You're done. That's all there is to it. Really, I'm not kidding. Alright, so here's our formula. And the more times you write that formula, you're going to remember it. So we have y equals mx. Now our b is negative, so instead of saying plus a minus 5, let's just say minus 5. Number 3, we have that 0 thing. What does that tell you? You should remember that this is a horizontal line. Let's see what happens. And we have a y-intercept of negative 1/2. If we just go through the formula, we would have y equals 0x, and again, since we have a minus, we're just going to say minus 1/2. You could write your answer like that, but let's make it a little prettier. 0 times x is 0, so we would get y equals negative 1/2. This is going to keep coming up just like it has in every other lesson. This is a horizontal line, and all horizontal lines look just like that. They only have a y. Now the next few, a little bit harder, and we need to know another formula. You need to know what's called the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m minus x1. Now that y1 and x1, that's just a particular point. They're just using subscripts. It's like Alice and Bob, just giving them names. And of course, m is still our slope. So we're going to start by writing out the formula every time. Okay, so we know this is m. This is our x1 and our y1. So the x's and y's that don't have little numbers by them, you don't put numbers in. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus a minus 2. Now what's going to happen with that minus and minus? It's going to become plus. Can we leave our answer like that? No, as I said in the beginning, all of our answers we need to put it in the form of y equals mx plus b. So after this, we just need to do some algebra. So I'm going to distribute the 5. Then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And now I have it in the format of y equals mx plus b. So I'm not asking you to do this, but in case you wanted to graph it, m is now 5 and b is 11. Alright, now our algebra is going to go a little bit harder because of the fraction, but we still have that same formula. So we have y minus our y1 equals our m times x minus x1. So we have a lot of minuses. Let's go ahead and make those double minuses plus signs. Now from here we need to solve for y. So we have choices. We could distribute our fraction and deal with it like that, or get rid of it. So I'm going to choose to get rid of the fraction by multiplying this side by 5 over 1 because that's my denominator, which means I have to multiply that side by 5 over 1. Let's do it. So I'm going to distribute. And here, are you listening? Are you watching? Don't go too fast. These 5's reduce out. That's why I did it. And now I'm only distributing that negative 3. The 5's reduce, and now I'm distributing the negative 3. Keep going. I need to get y by itself. Last step, divide by 5, and again, instead of drawing one big long line, do it separately like we did in the last lesson, so we are getting y by itself. So I know my m is negative 3/5, which matches to the problem, and now I know b is negative 22 over 5. Alright, let's practice that fraction stuff again. Okay, minus a minus 1 equals 2/3 times x minus x1. This is x1, that's y1. Again, make those minus and minus a plus sign. I want to get rid of my fraction. Since this is my denominator, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3 over 1. I'm going to distribute. And again, be careful. Those reduce, and I'm just distributing the 2. Just distributing that numerator because the denominators have divided out. Alright, so I'm going to subtract 3. Negative 8 minus 3 is negative 11, and I'm going to divide everything by 3. There you go. Not hard, but you do need to memorize that formula. Alright, here comes those horizontal and vertical lines. As we saw in the third example, I believe, we saw if you have m is equal to 0, you only get an answer of y equals a number. However, if you have a vertical line, you're only going to get x is equal to number, and remember, m is undefined. So these again are so easy they're hard, and mainly I guess because you have to memorize something else. You just have to memorize it. On number 7, we have m is 0 and through a point. So we could use our point slope form, but it takes way too long. If you just know the slope is 0 and you have a horizontal line, then your answer is going to just be y equals a number. But what number? Well, what does y equal to in that point? 3. That's it. On number 8, it says m is undefined. That tells you that it's a vertical line. That also tells you that your equation is x is equal to some number. What number? You have to look at the problem and say, okay, what is x equal to in this problem? Negative 2. And you're done. Again, memorizing.